afternoon, everyone. It is Monday, the 28th of September, and I am just going to have a look at the major commodities. I'm going to start off with gold. So last week was very, very nice. There was a really well-deserved break below this key level. That is actually done in separate videos, which you can watch on the YouTube channel. And really that's as a result of gold being overvalued. True value being closer towards 2,000. Sorry, I beg your pardon, closer down towards 1,800 dollars anyway. So price has now started a retracement. My shallowest expectation, as I've stated in previous weekly analysis, is probably around 1,800. The furthest I would expect it to go is down towards 1,550. So somewhere between this would sit between, say, a 382 fib retracement and a 618. All right, so all of that is valid. For the time being, my expectation is really this week to see gold potentially continue down towards 1,800. It may want to actually come back up to retest this for resistance, and so for the next couple of days it might be more bullish than bearish. And of course, if that point it breaks well above this, then that's fine, because within the weekly kind of area this is fine. But it's very close to producing. Actually, it has now confirmed a downtrend on the weekly. So I lean mostly towards this now coming back down towards, continuing down towards 1,800, and therefore I will be looking for shorting opportunities on the 4-hour and daily, looking for shorting opportunities down towards 1,800, and then reassess at that point if it's potentially going to head lower or not. But that's certainly where I'm leaning towards first. As I said, what would negate that is price immediately able to get back up above 1,900 and perhaps break these highs. That would be an immediate negation of that, and that would then have me looking for long opportunities here. But I think it's much higher probability that gold is going to head down first before it turns around. Looking at silver, so silver as well, overextended to the downside, definitely needs to retrace. Coming back to test 26 is absolutely fine with me. Before continuing down, it's done a really nice retracement. Ultimately, yes, that could be a nice weekly bullish candle sitting on top of weekly support. So all of that makes a lot of sense. It has done a swing high, and so actually any kind of head down, any kind of continued retracements down towards 21 and 19 would be the equivalent, I would see, to match gold. So a shallower retracement makes sense to come down towards 21, a deeper one towards 19. And so that's really what's on my card. Same thing again. Any pullbacks would be for me potential shorting opportunities to the downside. Then having a look at, say, copper. Copper's been fantastic. Produced a really nice bullish daily candle here off that level of support. And I think that it's a high probability here it's going to head up towards resistance. What it does when it gets there, that's going to be a different story, potentially, as it's still overextended on the monthly. And as I said, any kind of pullbacks would make a little bit more sense. But I'm a little bit more bullish on copper than I am on the other instruments. Platinum. Solid kind of no clear trend. I say that was in a downtrend, broke that, and now kind of doing a big move. That's basically a big sort of kind of big candle, bit of a rejection. I'm more bearish on this, even though it is producing a bit of a bullish candle on the weekly level. I'm still more bearish on it than bullish, and so I wouldn't be surprised if there are some, if these are just temporary moves to the upside, basically kind of rallying into resistance before potentially heading lower. And actually, I'll do a similar kind of call on Palladium, excuse me. It is a strong level of historical support. I think it's producing a swing low. I wouldn't put it outside the realm of possibility it's going to actually continue to head up towards 2,400. And one of the biggest differences between Palladium and the other commodities, I beg your pardon, is that it actually has had a decent correction on the monthly time frame, and it has produced a beautiful swing low here. So actually, if anything, I am more bullish on this. It isn't in the same condition as gold. It's not to say it couldn't necessarily be impacted by that, but it is definitely in a healthier position on the higher time frames and more bullish. And so a continuation up to 2,500 makes a lot more sense to be there. Moving on to crude oils. So this, for me, this monthly downtrend with this potential swing high here is still very much in play. And actually what I was looking for last week was to see if we kind of headed lower. I was saying that we were looking bullish on that weekly. On the daily, we're kind of ping-ponging between the two. And so what I'm going to be looking for on oils, so to speak, is looking for breaks of these kind of lower levels down here. So actually, that's not what I want. I want something more like that. I want to see kind of price break through the lows of here, then producing kind of a daily downtrend, and then start to head towards $40 and start to head lower than that. If, of course, it just breaks up and then confirms a daily uptrend of a low and a high and a higher low, and then breaks up above these highs, then I become more bullish on gold. I still can't quite shake what's going on here, but if we did actually end up with a bullish engulfing candle, that is also perfectly acceptable. And then I would start looking towards bullish, sort of more bullish positions and opportunities. But right now, it really is giving very much mixed signals. It's definitely struggling with the bears that are kind of on place here. There's a lot of selling happening here, and there's a lot of bulls on the shorter term time frame. So there's a conflict between that. It's not unusual. That's happening across the board. It makes sense in the bigger picture of things. There's a lot of global uncertainty right now, and therefore kind of stalling and not knowing which way to go is pretty much the name of the game. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for in the shorter term. Is a break below this makes me more bearish. A break above this high makes me more bullish, and that would actually apply across the board, whether it's West Texas or whether it's like Crude. All of these are looking very nice and bullish on the daily, and therefore if they suddenly break below the low, that does support the idea of that longer term bearishness, which is a very valid kind of setup there. So that's really going to wrap that up there, but that's really my expectation for commodities. As I said, is looking for further downside on gold and silver. I think palladium has that potential to keep going to the upside, and crude oil, I'm waiting for it to signal which way it really wants to go, and it hasn't clarified much of that. It's giving those mixed signals, and therefore I need to watch key levels around recent highs and recent lows on the daily to get it to clarify which way it wants to go.